Greetings.
Greetings, my brother.
My name is David Digeji.
Rahubat, David.
Yeah, I'm from Nigeria.
Okay.
Uh, my spiritual path started as a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went into Orthodox Judaism,
Okay.
and I'm a researcher and I learn every day. I tend to
Okay.
ask questions
Mm-hmm.
and I also look at things from a global perspective.
Okay.
And I know there's a pattern in every truth,
Okay.
and we have layers of truth.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to validate some of the things I know in Judaism
Okay.
to see the ones that are correct and
Mm-hmm.
the ones that I need to
Mm-hmm.
get rid of.
Okay.
So one of my questions is about the influence of the planets. That the planets
Okay.
also influence us here.
Mm-hmm.
According to like let me talk about astrology.
Mm-hmm.
At the time of one's birthday, the arrangement of the planets also influences people. So I want to know what's your take about it. That is one.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is about psychic attack
Okay.
because action and reaction are equal and opposite. So maybe you've done something to attract it, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe you didn't do anything and you're just a victim, or something in that line.
Okay. Let's just do the two. Keep the others because
Okay. Okay.
otherwise just gonna and then build on questions upon questions. So the first one's astrology, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so within Wu-Sabat, our teachings is that we go through a certain process and steps. So we utilize what's called sound right reasoning. Okay, so sound right reasoning means that as a being who, like you said, as a researcher, you have to look up the words and what they mean. Okay, so when you look into astrology, okay, astro, stars, logia, the study of the stars. Okay, that's what astrology defines itself as. All right. Now, within that scope of arena, they say that astrology is a pseudoscience. Okay, the reason why they say it's a pseudoscience because it's actually stems from somewhere. You with me? But taken upon by another culture or another race of people who have patterned it to suit them. Does that make sense? Yeah, you listen. Yeah, this makes sense. Okay, so the astrologia was invented by the Greeks. It was created by the Greeks. Okay, which was taken and patterned off of the ancient Egyptian symbol of the Dendara. You ever heard of the Dendara? Okay, let me bring up an image of the Dendara. Right. So when you go to the Temple of Hathor, okay, you see is that can you see that? You can see this temple?
Yes.
Right. So this temple of Hathor, which they call Hathor, okay, is a temple that was dedicated to a certain ancient ancestor, because this is where the birthing of children and other things happen there. So within that temple, on the ceiling, okay, of the temple of Dandara, you come across a image, if I can find the image. See the zodiac? You see what they say zodiac, zodiacos? Can that be seen?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So this is where, unfortunately, I can't blow any more than that. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so you can see the zodiacos, means animal circle, yeah, in the Greek. But this was actually taken by the Greeks when they were in Egypt under a name in the historians' books or history books as the Hyksos. Yeah, so the Hyksos dynasty were actually your Greeks and your Phoenician Canaanites who mixed together. And when they resided, they took this symbology of our ancestors and how it linked to the stars, okay, and patterned it on their own. And that became your pseudo astronomy, astrology, science, based off of our spiritual science. Okay. So now, how does it have an impact on us? Yes, it does, because it's a cyclical thing. Every 2,000 years, going anti-clockwise, you go into certain cycles or eras. So in the era that we're in now is called the age of Ptah in our culture, in our ancestral culture. They call it now the Aquarian age in the European culture. Ever heard of these terms before? Aquarian, yeah? So what's happening is that the copy of our ancestors and their cycles is then taken to and transposed onto the European cycles of the Aquarian age, etc. And within the Aquarian age is where you get your astrology from. And astrology or the zodiacos or the Dentara, which is the original name Tantara, which became Dendara. Okay, that Tantara is talking about energies when a child is conceived. Okay, certain energies come onto the planet and is connected to the child. So, for instance, being that you're from Nigeria, you may have a correlation to a name. You with me? And that name is linked into an ancestor. And that ancestor is linked into another ancestor, and so on and so on and so forth. Likewise, I'm from Ghana. So for me, I've got a name, Kwabena, just what I'm saying, which is linked into a particular ancestor and also it going on into the stars. So this correlation between us as beings, children of the ancient ones, have a connection to the stars and to the universe. And this star map was designed to represent that on Earth, to know that we're connected to the stars. So even when you look into the center, unfortunately, the light is bad, but in the center of the zodiacos, you see the hippopotamus. Okay. The hippo was actually a connection between mammalian and reptilian because if you understand the hippo resides more in water than it does on land. Okay. And that mammalian and reptilian connection is that we as children, okay, or humanoids are actually half reptilian and half mammalian, okay, in species. How? Because how long were you in your mother's womb? 9 months. Where did you breathe in? Water. How did you breathe in water without lungs? Because your lungs only kick in when you are actually born into this realm, into Earth. When you come out and you breathe in your first breath, it's when your lungs actually start to kick. But prior to then, it's actually you're breathing through something called your gills. What they refer to as gills, or should I say your tonsils in biology, is what they will call fishes have gills. So you're actually breathing through your tonsils at one time, and then eventually, when you came out onto land, your oxygen kicked in, and your lungs started to operate and replaced the movement of your tonsils, and your tonsils became redundant. That's why it's so quick to get dehydrated, and then you get tonsillitis, or doctors don't understand what the purpose of the tonsils are for, and they quickly remove it out. You see what I'm saying? So, in correlation to your spiritual connection, is that the universe has an energy which is connected to you. So, having a name and how to say, a vibration also allows you to link in with the universe. Okay. And certain energies are shut down on the planet at that particular time when you're conceived. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, partly.
Okay. Now, the other aspect was to do with, is there more you want to know on this?
Let me ask the one.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I've forgotten the second question. But
yeah.
Another one I want to ask about the moon. What influence of the moon, new moon, full moon, how does it influence us people? Because you rightly say, okay, you rightly say the cosmos also influence people here. So how does it influence us, and how can we use it to our advantage? Can we better position ourselves in, because then the other question I want to ask about the astrology is that the influence of the planets have global impact on the world. What about our own personal impact, individual impact that it has on us?
It does, because what the master teachers explained to us is that the circumference of the planet is 24,000 in circumference, 24,000 miles in circumference. Okay. Now you also have genomes, which is also 24,000 as well. Yeah, genomes. Those genomes, an approximation of those genomes and your genes is linked to the planet Earth because of the circumference of the planet, and also that you are of the planet in the sense of your biological essence. So the things that make you up are the elements, yeah, which is oxygen, hydrogen, etc., etc. These particular elements is what you're made up of. So you're actually connected to the planet just by way of your makeup. You with me? Yeah, so your actual elements of the planet is what you're made up of, which means that you're connected to the planet. And also your circadian rhythm. You got circadian rhythm, which kicks in every 8 hours cycles. Okay, from the time you go to sleep to the time you wake up. All right, that's a circadian cycle, and a certain flow of melatonin is secreted into your bloodstream. Okay, to repair muscles, etc., etc. So all of these things, you have a connection with the circadian rhythm. You have a connection to the 24,000 circumference linked into your genomes, okay, and also linked into the planet Earth in the form of the cycles of 24 hours in a day. So all of that has a play on you as an individual being. Likewise with the planets on that circle of the sun. The sun has an impact on you, as you know, because you're heavenly. We as melaninite children, okay, we get our energy from the sun. And the sun actually warms us up. And what we call skin cells are actually what are known as solar panels. And those solar panels, which are your melanin, okay, absorbs the energy from the sun and converts it into vitamins and other minerals which you use when we're in our original habitat or in our original environment. You with me? Right now we're lacking it because we don't have the sun as much. That's why most of us kind of get sick or we have that what they call the winter blues. You with me? And all of these things sad? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Okay, so all of these has an impact on us because we're mal-illuminated. You know, like you get malnourished, you're also mal-illuminated. You don't get enough light, sunlight. So that's one thing. Then the moon itself doesn't really affect us that much because when you look at the original term name of the word moon, you get the word luna in the Greek or in the Latin. Luna ties into the word lunatic. It's with me. So anybody who has a deranged episode, okay, they call a lunatic. You with me? And it's mostly coincides with the when the new moon comes up. And that's why they gave you movies like Dracula, they gave you movies like Werewolf, you see what I'm saying? Because you become in a lunatic state. Okay. But really, we are sun beings, and that the sun is what actually affects us and makes us rise in consciousness. The moon converts the sun's energy into a lesser form, okay, known as ghostation. And that's the outside information that is not taught to the general public is that you have two types of energies. You have something called nine ether, and you also have something called six ether, and then you have ghostation, right? So one is the highest, which is nine ether, which is combination of all gases, all light, all energies. Then you have a lesser variation or the depth of nine ether, which gives birth to six ether. You with me? So six ether composed of negative energy or weaker state in potency. And then when six ether dies, it gives off another type of gas or energy known as ghostational gas. You with me? So these gases are actually in the atmosphere and we actually inhale it in the form of ether. Because what many people don't realize is as you breathe in oxygen, you also have a counterpart to it called ether, which is the etheric counterpart of oxygen. And then when you inhale, you're inhaling this because it's of a lesser state and formula, it actually affects the way you think and the way you see and visualize and imagine things. Do you understand? So these are having an effect on us. The moon has an effect on us because of the conversion of the etheric gases. And also the sun has an effect on us because we are children of the sun. Okay. And the other planets also at different conjunctions in the cycles, 2,000-year cycles, also has an effect on us. Does that make sense? Okay.
I remember the question, second question now.
Okay, go on. Yeah.
It's about the science of psychic attack.
Okay,
Can you describe it? Because if you know the science behind it, you can easily checkmate it.
Okay.
Because if you don't know how it's happening, what did I do to cause it? Am I a victim or did I orchestrate it?
So when you're saying psychic attack, are you talking about somebody looking at you and psychically sending a message to you, or are you talking about you having a mental psychosis?
I mean, at night or maybe in the dream, or
okay,
that's what I mean basically.
Right. So you can have different forms. There's like something called sleep paralysis. Okay, sleep paralysis is that when you're in a state where you're asleep, okay, your etheric being or your spiritual essence can leave your body. Does that make sense? And when it travels, there are times where you can be spiritually attacked in that way because there are other forces at work in that spiritual realm that you're not aware of, or many people are not aware of. And they can actually keep you in that zone or in that realm where you cannot go back to your body, or they can try to take over your body while you've left. Does that make sense? And then what takes place is that you have something, a safety mechanism is called adrenaline. When that adrenaline kicks in, it pulls your spiritual essence back into your body so that and then you get up and you wake up. Or there's times when you're screaming, you can't wake up, you feel like there's a pressure on you, and then you're struggling, and then the adrenaline kicks in, and then you draw your spiritual essence because what it is your remember I talked about the umbilical cord from your mother. You also have a spiritual umbilical cord that's connected to the etheric or spiritual realm. You see what I'm saying? And then one of those umbilical cords is where your chakra is overlaid. You know what chakras are?
What up? What's it?
Okay. Basically, that's a Asian word for seats. These whirling vortexes. So you actually have 9 in total in a black or Nagaru race. And then other races have 7 going all the way down. Do you know what I mean? So the less potency, as I was explaining before, about the gases that you are made up of, okay, is also correlates with the chakras. So your chakras, we have 9, we have 7, and then there's 2 above that, which is not linked in the sense of to your body. Like you have your gonads, then you have your spleen, then you have your heart, and you have your lungs, etc. These are the chakras, and then your pineal gland, etc., and your pituitary gland. So each gland is like a doorway, okay, into the spiritual realm. So if you are, let's say, delving in unsavory matters, you with me? You can actually open up your chakras. And when you open a chakra, you're literally opening a doorway to disembodied spirits or disembodied beings who can come into your body. Okay, they can house one single cell, just a cell, okay, and lay dormant. And then they can actually attack you in your dreams or or in your mind. Does that make sense? Now, to protect yourself from that is being able to have psychic self-defense. And through the teachings of Wu-Sabat and studying Wu-Sabat, you create a psychic self-defense because what starts to happen is as you study Wu-Sabat and the teachings that has been brought by the master teacher by way of our ancestors, this African spirituality starts to convert your energy, you see what I'm saying, into a protective energy, which repels disagreeable negative forces from influencing and attacking your mind. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, what about, can you talk about Chinese feng shui?
Feng shui.
Yeah, the energies in spaces.
Yeah.
And the different energies.
Yeah.
And how it influences us.
Okay. You're about energies, aren't you? Yeah. So feng shui, as you know, shui means water. Yeah, that's what, and feng means the way of water. So the way of water is that certain places, as you know, the Chinese build their buildings in a particular way because they'll withstand the flow of energy. Okay. And likewise, in our ancient culture, when we knew the sciences, we also built pyramids and certain architecture because we understood the science of acoustics, we understood the science of water and currents and electrical energies, etc., which allowed certain energies to flow and also be conductive to us. So in understanding that principle, the Chinese also understood that science and they built their buildings in that way, or in their houses, they'll have certain rooms facing a particular way. You know what I'm saying? Not having mirrors in their houses because mirrors are portals for beings to actually come through. You understand? So even within the Wu-Sabat, our teachings is that you place mirrors facing out towards the out of the house. You with me? The mirror is actually facing the other way, not into your house. That kind of
Back,
stuff.
back.
Yeah, the back. Yeah. So imagine you've got a mirror.
In your house?
No, you still have mirrors, but I'm saying if you place mirrors in your house strategically, either by your window, etc., this actually repels spiritual forces. You with me? So these are the things, and obviously, like we were burning sage as when you came in. Sage is another thing that also weakens spirit forces. So there's different ways of being able to create energy in your house, positive energy, and also there's ways to weaken spiritual forces that will try to attack you. Okay? Does that help? Okay. All right.
And we need to Jay.
Yeah, go ahead, my bro.
Over the mirrors.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's I always used to wonder why my grandmother used to do that, but now I understand. Yeah. Cover your mirrors. Yeah.
We've got mine in the living room, just sitting there.
Yeah. Well, if now you understand, you're with me. But that's not the only way. What we're saying is that if you are able to protect your house, because the Master Teacher has given us various things, the sage burning, for instance, is a way. You with me? Palo de Santo is another type of wood stick that you can burn because these release certain when they're known as and ions into the atmosphere. And these ions in the atmosphere, what they do is they weaken certain energies that are also made up of other negative or positive ions. Because essentially, spirit forces are made up of energy as well. And what they tend to do is they tend to put fear in you so that they can create an electrical charge. And then that charge strengthens them. Because remember, your body is made up of electricity. Yeah. So that little trinkle of charge, that fear is produced by your adrenal glands. And those adrenal glands, with the salt water that's also in your body, it creates a spark. You with me? And that spark is then your bioenergy field that you have around you, known as your aura. Okay. It leaks out. And these spirit forces get stronger the more fear you have, and etc. And all these, was it lack of esteem and low self-esteem and all of these things. That's what they feed off of. So they get stronger in the atmosphere and then they affect you. Do you understand?
So is it good to have mirrors, yes or no?
It's you can have mirrors. It's not a good or bad thing. It's just having mirrors to already check yourself out. But what we're saying is that if you have mirrors, face it on or have some of your mirrors facing towards outside towards the outside of the house. You with me? Yeah. Or just cover it.
You don't have to be high up on the stairs.
Yeah, I understand it's not easy for everybody, but if you can. But that's why I said I gave you other alternatives. There's other ways that you can weaken spirit forces. Yeah. Or keep sorry, question. Yeah.
You've got a question on Clubhouse.
There's a question on Clubhouse. Okay. Rahubat, who has a question on Clubhouse? Please ask away. Is it Setep Khair Atum? Who's got a question? Yomi? Okay. Did you see who it was? Ami? Ami, do you have a question?
Yeah, my question was basically to your Rahul my question is, how as sapiens do we deal with loved ones that suffer with extreme levels of cognitive dissonance?
How do Sabians deal with loved ones who have cognitive dissonance?
Who suffer with cognitive.
Oh, who suffer.
Suffer with extreme levels of cognitive dissonance.
Oh, give me an example of one of what your relative does.
So ultimately they would see the difference in me, the choices I've made over the years. They would see my progression. They would ask me what has allowed me to change. They would see the sound right reasoning and the facts of how I've changed. But then they wouldn't apply it to themselves, and they would continue with the traits that we were all given as family members growing up the way we did, if that makes sense. So I'm speaking.
Right. So you're basically saying they don't understand Wu-Sabat and they don't understand what you're doing and they want and you're struggling with that.
No, they understand, but they're refusing to accept it for themselves.
Yeah.
It's made on.
Right. You see, there's this at the stage that they're at the moment, it could be many different multiple things, and it'll be hard for me to give a explanation to what they're going through. Do you see what I'm saying? Or what's causing them not to accept or embrace Wu-Sabat? Because it's on so many different levels. I'll give you certain examples. If most of us in the West who have been kidnapped from our ancestral lands and brought to a strange land which is foreign to us, what's happened is that we've mixed in with a lot of different people over the years, okay, different races, and also the Caucasian race, Asians, etc., are in our genetics, okay? So the genes themselves, like sorry, could someone mute the mic, please? Thank you. Yeah, so the genes themselves, because the genes are scrambled and there's a conflict in the genes, it makes it very hard for a lot of us to accept what this information is being brought to us, to accept the reality that it's working or it can work, or is that it's something that will change us and make us better for ourselves and also for humanity. So it's very, very hard for me to give an explanation as that particular individual and what they're going through or what's keeping them the way they are or questioning why you do what you do. What the masters explain to us is that there's that aspect where there's conflict, and there's also the fact that we are exposed to so many different things, misinformation, that it's very hard for us to accept when the truth is given to us. When the truth does come to us now, like we asking for the truth, like where's how can we come out of this mess as a race of people? How can we do this? How can we do that? Why are we always fighting? Why are we always killing each other? All of these are questions that are in some of our forefront of some of our minds. But then when we say we do have the actual facts, we have the information, we have the cure to this disease, many people say, nah, you can't have it. It's impossible. And then they reject the very thing that they're asking for. Yeah. So what you have to do is that you have to live Wu-Sabat. And we've said this many times to people. You have to live Wu-Sabat to the very best of your ability. Yeah. Don't be judgmental to anybody. If you're saying this is working for you, then live it to the best of your ability. Be the best example that you can be, so that when your family members or individuals see you, they can say, wow, this guy is improving himself. What's he learning? And then those questions might be like, so, where'd you go again? Who's this? Who's this guy, Dr. Malachi? And then you open up a doorway or an avenue to have that conversation, that healthy conversation. But right now, what we always say and strive is just be the best example that you can be. If you say you're going to be going to class, or if you say you're going to do this, it doesn't even have it to do Wu-Sabat. Even if you're just going down to the shop or to a rave, if you still rave or go to a party and you say, I'm going to be back at a certain time, or I'm going to pick you up at a certain time. Be about your work. Say you're going to do it and make it happen. Do you see what I'm saying? And always be honest and sincere about what you're going to do. Because in your sincerity and in your honesty, that then reverberates to that individual, and they don't see you as this guy just tripping. Do you get what I'm saying? 1 minute he says one thing, then another he's saying another, and he's just being a hypocrite. Yeah, you can't be a hypocrite if you're going to be teaching Wu-Sabat or live the life of Wu-Sabat. Okay, so that's the best thing I can say, is live the best that you can within this culture. Antakatira 4. You're welcome for those who don't know. Yes.
So a couple more on the Clubhouse.
Okay.
We add it to the queue, please.
Yes, Ifeoma. Who's next? I see. What's the name? Oh, Nefiore, yeah. Okay, yeah. Is she up on stage? Oh, yes. Nefiore. Oh, Rahubat. Rahubat.
Yes, hi. It's Nefer Efri, but it's also updated to Nafara Fabreye.
Sure.
Yeah, but I was just confirming. I speak Spanish, so
Okay, well,
when you were talking about the word Luna
Mm.
and the word lunatic,
Mm.
yes, I was just confirming that. Yeah, I wanted to add to it. Yeah, basically the word for moon in Spanish is Luna.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so that was on point.
Yeah.
That was all.
How tax them out.
Yeah.
Appreciate your input.
Yeah, powerful.
All right.
Powerful teacher. Okay, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
What is Okay, and who's next, Zamalta? Ifeoma's next.
Yeah, the person before the last speaker was talking about how black people in the Americas have been mixed and stuff, and I feel like that's a good thing. I feel like people should be mixed and stuff like that because that's more diverse genetics, and it means it's a healthier person. And like for me, like I have mixture and stuff, but my hair texture is like curly and stuff, and it's real manageable. And I look at people who don't have that mixture, and they really struggle with their hair and stuff like that. So it's certain genes and stuff that get ironed out when you mix.
I appreciate what you're saying, and that can be for individual purposes or individually, but what we're saying here is that, okay, the analogy is, would you mix, okay, a tiger with a lion?
They did that. That's
They
kind of
did that.
like
And do you know how long it lasted for? It didn't live very long. Do you know that?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how animals work.
Yeah.
I know with humans though,
Okay.
we're able to mix.
Right. So the thing is, Ifilma, is that humans are also animals. That's what we don't tend to realize, is that we've taken ourselves out of the animal kingdom equation. So we think we're actually separate from animals, but we do animalistic things. You with me? So the reality is that, being that we are genetically diverse, as you say, is also not by intention or by selection or by you deciding that I'm going to go out and mix by myself with somebody else. This was done intentionally, okay, by other races who mixed in with us. You with me? And the mixing.
Well, no, my mom is Puerto Rican, and
Yeah.
my dad only likes Spanish women, so that's why he.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that Puerto Rican, okay, these are people who are originally indigenous to that area known as South America. All right. What I'm trying to say is, when you mix genetics, okay, are you familiar with DNA and how DNA works? Okay. DNA works is that you have 23 from mother, 23 from father, and then the crossover produces that child who will inherit genetics from both sides of the family. Okay. Sorry, if somebody's got their mic on. Just bear with me a second. Sorry, could you mute your mic, whoever's got their mic on? So that genetic diversity that's taken place is that when you mix your DNA or your seed with somebody, you're passing on certain traits, okay, and a type of mentality. So what we're teaching here is that once you apply those sciences to a person, that mentality can also affect the outcome of the child or the progeny or the generations that come from that mixing. Do you understand? So what's happening is that, even though we got a diversity going on and people have, like you said, softer hair or traits like that, that's just a physiological traits. But what we're dealing with here, we're dealing with spiritual traits. So when you spiritually mix with somebody who's not of your race, okay, you actually weaken your genes. Do you understand? And in weakening your genes, you then pass on certain genetic inheritance to a child or to a particular race of people. In doing that, they lose their connection with their spiritual forces that helps them and guides them. So what's taken place over the hundreds of years or thousands of years that we've been on this planet is that through the mixing, okay, that genetic diversity has also made us cut a link off. Our link is now disconnected from our ancestral roots. And this was intentionally done on purpose so that we can not make that connection with our ancestors and be able to connect and speak with them, and then for them to guide us and teach us and prepare us for certain events that are going to take place. So in the past, originally, people had more of a lesser genetic diversity and were able to have more of a closer connection with natural nature. But as time has gone on over the millennia, due to the mixing, the mental state of a people has made them lose connection with natural nature, with humanity, and also with their ancestors. And what this is doing is reconfiguring your genetics. This information is getting you to align yourself back with natural nature, with your genetics, and also with your ancestors. So that's the reason why we will say that mixing of genes is not advisable, because of the fact that you lessen and weaken your spiritual essence. Does that make sense? It's like you having...
Well, I thought we all come from Adam and Eve. So for me, it's like
Okay.
everybody's still related.
That's
Like, it don't matter
right.
your color, we're all still related. Like, even in my family, I have people of different colors
Yeah.
and stuff, just even in my immediate family.
If you're
And
if
we
you're
like spiritual, like,
yeah,
my
if you're you will have many...
more spiritual than my black side.
Yeah, you will have more people of a distinct diversity of in your immediate family. And I'm not gonna elongate this because I'm conscious that other people have questions. But what you have to realize is that when you even say Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico is a place that was named by the Spanish or the Portuguese, okay, which means rich port. So they brought religion into the people that were indigenous to that area, who were of African descent. You see what I'm saying? And then the Portuguese and the Spaniards mixed in with them, brought their religion, and indoctrinated those people into it. Now, through the mixing of the genetics, okay, you ancestral lineage has been cut off. So now you think you are a place. A place does not define you as a race. So when you say I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Brazilian, I'm Jamaican, I'm Ghanaian, and all of these things, that does not distinguish your race. What distinguishes your race is your genetics. You with me? And what you're made up of spiritually. So your spiritual connection, for instance, for you, because of the racial diversity in your gene pool, you have connections to multiple spiritual beings. Now, they can affect the way you think and the way you act and the way you behave. While somebody who's lesser mixed, they have a direct connection with those ancestral forces that guides them and protects them. You understand? So there's a lot more deeper. Yeah. No, Adam and Eve were actually created only 6,000 years ago. The African race or other races predate Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve is a biblical story that was taken from other stories that predate the Bible. Do you understand? So for your question, for your understanding of Adam and Eve were actually not the first people on the planet. There was people on the earth before Adam. I'll give you an example. When Cain kills his brother, if you know your Genesis story, if you believe in Adam and Eve, then you know that Adam and Eve had how many children? 2 children, Cain and Abel, according to the Bible. Because outside of the Bible, we know that they had more. But let's stick with the Bible. Cain and Abel. Cain kills his brother Abel. Abel is dead. So the land of Nod that Cain was banished to, you have to ask yourself, who set up the land of Nod? Who was there that Cain then found a wife to marry if there's only 4 people on the planet? You see, that's just a simple logic reasoning that will get you to question and open up doorways to seeking the facts and the truth. And like I said earlier in our teachings, when we say we have the truth, or people say they want the truth, and then we present them with the truth, they reject it because of whatever upbringing and whatever doctrine that they've been indoctrinated in. They find it very hard to actually reason and accept this reality that if you're talking about 4 people on the planet and all the genetic diversity came from 4 people on the planet, that is impossible. because genes get weaker after the fourth generation. Go and study DNA and genetics, you'll find this out. You see, so there's very, very misinformation that has been placed upon us about the whole biblical story. So if you're coming from that standpoint of view that you believe in the Bible as being and Adam and Eve being the first people created by God, let me tell you right now, because we can go into it in maybe other classes if you're a due diligent studier, that Adam and Eve were not the first people on the planet. They were created by beings who came from other star systems, what today will be called extraterrestrials. Okay, so I'm not going to cut and try and sugarcoat it or and make it sound fancy. Extraterrestrials are responsible for the creation of Adam and Eve. Okay, because we don't have time anymore for making it sound like a Christmas story, Santa, and all of these things. That's what children were grown up to believe, that Santa was real. Yeah. The reality is Adam and Eve were actually two children that was born from other tribes that were on the planet thousands of years before. And certain extraterrestrials came in onto this planet, and then they genetically upgraded certain beings, okay, certain tribes, and that was your Adam and Eve story, who were created 6,000 years ago. That's your biblical thing. If you want to go into the truth of the matter, is that beings came here 450,000 years ago, and through many different experiments created your Adamu. And your Adamu was created as a worker and also as a food source for certain extraterrestrials. That's the real deal. But again, like I said earlier, are you prepared and really ready to accept the truth? Or are you just going to reject it? Okay, so just go and do your studies look up in the Bible and do your studies with strong concordance and the Hebrew Bible, and you find the names and the titles, etc., and what their meanings are. Go and get an etymological dictionary, do your studies, find out what, like the brother said, lunar. Many people don't know that lunar means moon, or that when you're saying things like September and October, these are actually words that have been introduced into the English language, but we never actually take time to research what does September mean, because it's confusion. If you're talking about September as the 9th month, okay, all right, or if you're talking about October, and October is the 10th month, what's the word for octopus? So what's the word for eight legs in an octopus? Octopus has 8 legs, but you're saying October, and then you call it the 10th month. That's just confusion in itself, because the 10th month should be Deci, which is December, but December is the 12th month. You see what I'm saying? Total and utter confusion. And that's what we've been given over the many years, is confusion. So we have to set the record straight. Okay. And this is what we are here to do in Wu-Sabat. We set the record straight and give you the real information. All right. So I hope that answers your question, Ifioma, and for anybody else who wanted to know. Any further questions while we're on that topic, or any other topic?
Yeah, I have a slightly different question.
Okay, you're welcome, Fiona. Yes, who's this?
I'm on Zoom, Brown.
Okay.
So
Brown.
I'm asking a question on behalf of my relative.
Yeah.
So she says that before she goes to bed at night, she would meditate and she would say positive affirmations and stuff like that.
Mm.
And then when she goes to sleep, she encounters like a lower version of herself, and she's in a like a place of like a darker energy and a more dense atmosphere, and then the people who are around are slightly, I guess, less agreeable, so more disagreeable. I don't want to say bad.
Mm.
And so she feels in the dream like anxious and fearful and stuff like that, and it's always a situation where maybe she's running or she's fighting against other people or other beings. And then when she wakes up, obviously she feels scared, she feels anxious, and she feels like there's like other spirits in the room, maybe on her bed or just in the corner or just watching.
Mm.
So she tries to do like clearing the air with like Palo Santo and different things.
Mm.
But I guess it's not helping as much as she would like. So she would like to know like what else she could do and what could be causing all this?
is she studying, sorry to cut you, is she studying the information, Wu-Sabat, the knowledge, and is she reading the books?
Well, I share sometimes like what you guys say, but we
Okay.
are from a Christian background, and I try
Okay.
to not do too much that would just kind of scare her off or confuse her too much, like baby steps.
Right. What Partner Bab Yanun, Dr. Malachi has explained in one of the publications known as the Akasha Records. He explains in there, I'm sure it's the Akasha Records, that when we come across right knowledge or Wu Sabat, because of the many ancestral forces that are in us, some of them are agreeable, some of them are disagreeable. You also have, with linked to them, they also have spiritual forces that are also linked to them. What tends to play out is that as you accumulate this knowledge and this information into your being, because it's a form of energy, yeah, written in words, as you translate this and accept this information, the spirit forces that are in you, in your DNA, that reside within your spiritual essence, they also try to battle with you to say that so that they can keep in control. Because remember, they are disembodied. They don't have a body. So there are spiritual forces that want to enjoy your essence. They want to enjoy your body and use your body for their pleasures. So when nine ether or spirit forces of nine ether come into the minds and into this essence of who you are, your spiritual ancestors start to reawaken. Because as I said before, they haven't gone anywhere. They're just in an energy state. They're just that we've made them dormant because we've forgotten about them. So now that you've triggered this information, the spiritual forces that want to use you for their pleasures and their control, they're now battling in within your essence. And these are what comes out as nightmares and other things because they don't want to flee. But the more you study and you stick with Wu-Sabat and you learn and you practice it, they will eventually dissipate away. And you will no longer hear those voices or those dreams that you might have, just I'm saying, or somebody chasing you, because I've been there. I can relate. You have beings that you get to the door, you're running and you can't get nowhere. If people can relate to this, then it's something that happens because you have spirit forces, energy. Remember, all it is when we say spirit forces, these are energies. Oh yeah, energies that can change from liquid, sorry, from gas to liquid to solid or matter. It's all about the different vibrational states. So these energy beings, okay, known as elementals or known as demons and many other names for them, they have the ability to manipulate your essence. And what happens is because you're connected to them, or we are all connected to them in some shape or form, they can affect us in the spirit realm or in the dream realm. And our job within Wu-Sabat is to help you understand that, and also the studying and the diligent studying and asking your ancestors for protection, etc. They will come eventually and protect you because they're agreeable ones and there's disagreeable ones. The agreeable ones are more linked to your grandmother on your grandmother's side. Okay, your grandmother is the link to those higher realms of ancestors. And what they will do is she will be like the intermediate or the mediator between the higher beings and you. Okay, so she's your closest protection. So if you know who your grandmother is, have as we say, create an altar, and that altar, have a picture on the altar of her, and speak to your grandmother or your great grandmother, that link. And from that link, when you speak to them and ask them for protection, and sincerely that you mean it, okay, because it's all about your sincerity as well. There's no point just having it up and then being in a certain state as well. You shouldn't be in like an emotional or an angry state when you're communicating with your ancestors, the positive ones. So your grandmother, great grandmother, or grandmother will be that link back to those higher realms, as it were, of ancestors, and they will then seek to protect you and guide you. Okay.
Okay, we don't know. I don't know any of our grandparents. They died before we were born. So,
Right. Well,
uh,
what I can say is that even though you may not know their names, because
mhm.
a majority of us don't,
She was good.
it's the sincerity
Oh,
because it's the
okay.
frequency that you emit. If you're honest and sincere, you open you it's, remember the universe only reacts to your energy. So
Mhm,
energy flows where your attention goes. Yeah. So if your attention is and your energy is connected
mhm,
and is flowing to your ancestors, whether regardless of their name or their tone, as long as your sincerity and
mhm,
your
mhm,
heart is in the right place, those fields of energy will open
mhm,
up to you
mhm,
and they'll seek to get closer because there's someone in your genetic lineage. Remember, they're in your DNA, they're in
mhm,
your fiber of your being. So it's all about activating them. This is what we have been trying to do
mhm,
within Wu-Sabat and the Masters teaching us is that all the different chants that we do and the prayers
mhm.
is that we're activating our ancestors who reside in our DNA. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
She just, when you said grandmother, she just said she recognized her great grandmother from a picture from my mother, and she
Okay.
was actually in one of the dreams trying to help her.
Yeah. And oh, that's good. And the other thing is this: they know you. Yeah, they know
Right.
you.
Okay.
You may not know them, but they know you. So as you make that what they call a quantum entanglement, okay, that I'll read something what quantum entanglement is.
Rahubani, when you said that, I was literally gonna say they know you, and then you said it. But you have two questions in the chat when you're ready
Oh, wait.
in Zoom. Table type somehow.
Right. So quantum entanglement explains it like this. Quantum entanglement is a fascinating counterintuitive phenomenon where two subatomic particles, right? Remember, we're made up of atoms. Okay, that's the reality here. As you sit here right now, there's atoms going on in your body. Yeah, you're just atomic structure. That's what you are. Okay, electrons and protons, neutrons. So these atomic um, particles remain deeply connected, right? So your ancestors are still connected to you. So I'm gonna just move it into the realm of reality is that atoms are real. We all know that, yeah? Because they've shown us that atoms affect us in some hydrogen, oxygen, these are all elements came from atoms. So these atoms are connected, even if separated by billions of light years, right? A change in one particle instantly influences the other, regardless of the distance between them. Just put that in your mind because what you're doing when you're activating your ancestors or calling your ancestors, this is what's happening. You're literally instantly communicating with them because what they taught, they say to you minutes, seconds, hours, etc. Well, they never
Mhm.
taught you about the moment. The first is the moment, and that moment is the instantaneous. We think on instantaneous, we think on the moment. Other beings think on the second. That's why they gave you the second as if you say it was the first unit of time, they say a second. How? They never tell you it's a first. They say it's a second. How can it be a second? Because they were second in the first place. They came here second. So they base their time on their records, not on ours. So being that we are connected to our ancestors, Einstein referred to this as spooky action at a distance. Okay. Can you see that? Can anyone see that? Yeah,
Yeah.
that term, yeah, spooky action. So essentially, that quantum entanglement is that you, as an atomic being, have a connection to your ancestors who reside in different states of existence. They haven't gone anywhere. They didn't die and then go into the grave, and that's the end of them. That's why they took us from not communicating by not taking away the language from us and also communicating with our ancestors by their correct names. So they gave us their names. And in giving us their names, made us link ourselves back to their ancestors because most of us only have English names. Yeah. We don't have our original tones, our original vibrations. So all of this is part of the fact that we don't have a quantum entanglement anymore, but we're beginning to, because now we're acknowledging our ancestors again and we're activating them and bringing them alive. Thank you, Zamal. You could switch it back on. So I hope, Zamal, that
Yes.
gives it a more reality and a solidity to your question.
Okay, thank you. So I noticed a question popped up about the altar and the protection. So, like for that, I know she has like candles and crystals and stuff like that. And like, so you're saying add a picture of the great grandmother,
If you
and
can get it,
then
if you can.
yeah,
You'd be surprised. I mean, I remember asking this question about my great grandmother. Like, did any of the family have a picture of her? And I didn't. It was quite a while. It took a while before it came. But the more I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, then they posted a whole, one of those obituary pictures.
right, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
learned, I learned literally everything about my great grandmother in that obituary, why she was called that name, who did this to her, what she enjoyed eating. I saw a real picture of her. So now, for me, that's now a confirmation. You see what I'm saying? That's a reality. So that's all it is somewhere down the line, we have to learn to really trust in our relatives who exist on the other realms, because that's one of the reasons why we're not cohesive and getting on in life, is because we kind of like doubt them. And if you doubt them, all they can do is just stand and wait until you start to acknowledge them. That's when they can affect your life. If you just say, well, I don't think, and then you start to doubt, that doubt is an energy. Remember, everything's energy. It's your thoughts. So the moment they feel that, they just will walk away. They'll leave you. That's how the master teachers explain to us. If you start to engage and really accept that they're real and they exist, that's when start changes or protections and other things will start happening in your life. Okay, so just bear
Yeah.
that in mind as well.
All right, thank you so much.
You're most welcome, my sister. So Ken, did you say there was another question
Who was them out on Zoom chat?
on
Um,
Zoom? Okay,
yeah. Let me start from the top.
go
How
ahead.
does Hinduism relate to Wu-Sabat? That's from Nalita.
Okay.
Do you want me to give you all of them or just one at a time?
No, one at a
Okay.
time. So Hinduism, there were cycles of time. So originally we had over 76 trillion years of our existence. And then as the cycles changed, certain other forces came into existence, or certain other energies or etheric forces came into existence. So originally there was 9 ether, and then that gave birth to 6 ether. So the manifestation of 9 ether is that it's all colors, all gases, all sound, basically all. So you are a being that is all of these things. And what happens is 9 ether has a point where it starts to get weaker. And that weakened state was 17,250,000 years ago. And that weakened state birthed another race of beings. And that became your Hindu race. Okay. So the connection to that is purely by the way of the ethers. How 9 ether dies becomes 6 ether, and 6 ether dies become Hinduism as a practice. There are certain things that Hinduism has, like they talk about the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and Kama Sutra. Okay, when you read the book, the Akasha Records, is it Akasha Records? Those two is for me. They're in the Akasha Records. Let me see if I can. Have you got the Akasha Records upstairs? Do you have it? Yeah. Otherwise, I'll try and find on here. And then I can read an excerpt. But it's essentially within the Akasha records, or what they refer to in Hinduism as Akasha records, the Kama Sutra came by way of that. Yeah. So the Hindu sexual performances, etc. Okay, I'll try and bring up the Hindu sexual performances and other acts actually stem by way of the Kama Sutra, which was taken by a particular, which was taught, should I say, by a particular being. So I'm just gonna bring it up and we can read it. Okay, so this is a publication known as Actual Facts. Akasha Records. Just to let you know, this is for student teachers, so we don't actually publicly share this with anybody. We actually encourage purchase of the books, etc. But this is scanned on for us to study. So unfortunately, I can't be able to share that with anybody, just to let you know. So the Akasha Records, and on verse 5, there are different types of records. One is known as the rainbow colored. I will skip out the Sabaic in case it gets confusing for those who are new. The rainbow colored me stones or disc, a circular thing of crystal, each reflects its own prominent color, a circular plate coated and critiqued without formation and information. Verse 6, it is pure quartz, and on each is recorded in sound and light, existence and actions, such as the red me stone. The red me stone disc is all about Janas El, sexual pleasures, procreations, the centers of reactions of the humanoid's sensuous sensations of pains and pleasures relating to the brain and nervous system, inner and outer. As recorded, transcribed, translated from this disc to become the tantric arts of loving and lovemaking. Greetings. Also to become the Hindu Kama Sutra, which was shown and taught to Titi, Hawa, Eve in the Gan Eden, enclosure of pleasures and delights, called the Garden of Eden, which was in Arabia's holy and pure city, Becca, which became Mecca, Quran 396. Verily, the first house founded for human beings was for those in Becca, for a blessing and a guidance to the known worlds. Verse 9, its center was the cube-shaped temple, the Kaaba, in which was kept the me stones protected by Ning Gish Zida, Nachas, Tahutwi, son of Nud Imud, Enki, a Yahweh living one. It was Ning Gish Zida who taught Titi the secrets of Hinduism, Kama Sutra, and Tantra sexual pleasures. And she taught Adapa, Zakar, Arabic, Zakar, Hebrew, Cadmon, Adam, as now found recorded in the Hebrew book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1 to 21. Adam was or became a monk of the arts, and Eve was or became a nun of the arts, taught to her by Ningish Zida, son of the Lord of Earth, or Enki, son of Anu or Elyon El, the Most High in the Bible. And they are called in Hebrew Elohim, plural, and each is called El. The me stones are techno-magical formula. They are luminous discs, much like computer discs used today. Okay, so the origin of Hinduism is coming by way of these me stones. And Hinduism itself was brought to this planet by another group of extraterrestrials from the Procyon star system, okay? In the Canis Major star system. Yeah, so you have different star systems, and within the star systems, you have Canis Major, Canis Minor, and Canis means dog, okay? And if within this star system, there's many different planets. The planets that these beings come from is known actually as the planet Sing. So we're dealing with an extraterrestrial doctrine now, an extraterrestrial information, which is linked in to when these beings came to this planet and set up many vast civilizations. And the Hindus are part of that, but they came originally from the etheric forces that was had, how can I say, lessened in power from 9 ether to 6 ether. So now the manifestation of these forces, 9 ether in its physical form originally was dark skin with woolly hair. Yeah, dark skin, curly hair, etc., and appeared 4'5" and 5'4". Those are the original primordial beings on the planet. Then after that, there came the Hindus who had 6 ether hair, who had straight hair, flank, dark skin, and they were between the heights of 6 to 7 feet tall. Okay, so those were the 2 generations or existences of these different forces that came to the planet originally. However, there's been many, many mixing in now. So you get different features and character types and, personalities, etc., through the mixing. Yeah, but essentially the Hindu people, the Hindu origin is from this. So you can research about Hindus in their books, the Upanishads. Yeah, the Gita. I'll just bring it up for those who need to research it. So they talk about in the Hindu pantheon, they refer to the Upanishads. Okay, the Upanishad pronounced late Vedic and post-Vedic Sanskrit texts that document the transition from the archaic ritualism of the Veda into new religious ideas and institutions and the emergence of the central religious concepts of Hinduism. Okay, so that's what the Upanishad is. Okay, but originally it came from these ancient me stones. Okay, and then you have the back there. I hope I spelled this right because it's very hard. There you go. Come up straight away. Okay, so the Bhagavad Gita, often referred to as the Gita, is a Hindu scripture dated to the 2nd or 1st century BC, which forms part of the epic. Let's go into Wikipedia. I know we don't really use Wikipedia. I could find another thing, but for purpose of time, I'll just use that as reference because people add to Wikipedia, so sometimes it's not always 100% accurate. Right, so the Bhagavad Gita, referred to as God, so often referred to as the Gita, is a Hindu scripture dated to the 2nd or 1st century BCE, which forms part of the epic Mahabharata. Again, you can go and research that. It's a synthesis of various strands of Indian religious thought, including the Vedic concept of Dharma, etc., rightful action, and so on and so forth. So you research that. But as I was saying, this all stemmed from the Akasha records. And these Akasha records were actually stored on circular discs known as me stones. Okay, these actual discs that was kept and looked and protected over by being known as Ningish Zida. Okay, another name being Tahuti. So we know in ancient Africa, Tahuti was the scribe, okay, and a master of language, writing, mathematics, sacred formulas, and many, many other things. Tahuti is the being that masters from all different cultures will come and sit under the supreme master. He was known as Hermes Thrice Misgistus. Okay, that's another name for him. So in these teachings of Hermes or Tahuti taught basically all the masters that are on this planet. He's the one that brought culture, writing, mathematics, etc. to this planet. Okay, so he's a supreme being. So the incarnation right now is this being here, known as Dr. Malachi Z. Job. That's the incarnation of Tahuti. Okay, who has come. So there's Yanun, and then there's Tahuti. Okay, and then there's himself. All right, and then there's Ningish Zida, beg your pardon, and then him. So they're tri beings that speak through him and give us certain information to do with culture, to do with science, and to do with there's another one. Culture, science, and nature. Okay, that's what they teach. All right. As I said before, in our original way, we didn't see these avatars or incarnations as something strange because we understood that when our spiritual essence transitioned, we went on to different lives, many lives that we will live. And within these many lives, we have many experiences. So right now, for instance, us sitting in here now, this may not be the first time you've been on this planet as a physical being. You've incarnated many multiple times. And the reason why you've incarnated many multiple times is because not all of us made, or the ones who are sitting right here in this room right now and listening on podcasts, etc., is because you didn't make the grade. That's why you didn't perfect your being. So our job every so often is that we have to perfect our being so that we can then move on to the other realms and connect with our ancestors on a more profound level. Okay, so that's why we're here now, because we have fallen asleep. And each time we get to that state where we start to elevate, something happens, and then we have to come right back. And it could be various things. It could be because you finish what you're supposed to learn. Your life was taken shortly. I see you, brother. Yeah. Or that you just plain ignorant and just didn't want to know about the information at all. I see you too. Okay. And that's the reason. So, but I hope that answers the question for the sister on Hinduism, if it was a sister asking the question. All right, I've got a question in the classroom. So, brother at the back, if you could take the mic, and then I see you, brother, here, and then we can go to on Zoom and see if Clubhouse has any questions as well.
Let me start by asking about the first wife of Adam.
Okay.
Lilith. Can you say about her?
Yeah, sure.
And
what would you like to know?
What she does, because I heard about some negative things I want to know.
Right.
And how to protect from attack.
Oh, okay. So you think Lilith is attacking?
That's what I'm just asking.
Oh, right.
I'm trying to know.
Okay, right. So
I may have partial information or wrong information.
No, I understand. And we're here to right the wrong. So
Yes.
the wrong information. So when you're dealing with your whole Adam Eve story or concept, you've got to understand that there was different cycles and periods of time that models or prototypes of the Adam and Eve were made. Yeah, it wasn't just one time God said, let me make Adam and Eve, and then that was it. Because as you mentioned, Lilith was a wife of Adam at one time. He was also his mother. She was also his mother, because in the realm that we're in, we are being indoctrinated to think that the husband and wife thing, and it didn't work like that in ancient cultures, especially dealing with beings that came from other star systems. So Lilith was created initially, okay, to be the spouse for Adam, but she rebelled. Do you understand? And when she rebelled, that's when eventually they made Hawa, or what the Bible calls Eve, okay, to replace her. But initially, she actually rebelled. So she was the first wife of Adam. Okay? Does that help? Or do you want to know more?
Yeah, I want to know. I already know that. I want to know more.
The Master hasn't really gone into much detail about Lilith. I mean, it means the night. Yeah, because what she would do is she would orchestrate people to do disagreeable things, because she was of a disagreeable nature. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, so Lilith, being that she was created as a disagreeable negative entity or being, as a person, she will cause distraction and mayhem, etc. on the planet. That was her job. Yeah, that was her nature.
Yeah, that she ended up becoming a demon. So
yeah, no, she's not that she ended. She is, because of who she was. She is created from demons. Remember the Hindus, okay, in their story, they talk about a lot about demons. So the Hindus are actually incarnated demons in physical form. That's what they are. Okay. When I explain to you about nine ether is the depth of nine ether is six ether. Six ether is negative gases. So the personification of six ether gases are your Hindus, who are disagreeable or demonic by nature. Does that make sense? So Lilith, who was one of the early versions of your Adam and Eve, okay, she had that nature. She would go around causing dissension and distraction, etc., amongst families and amongst nations. That was her job. Any more than that?
Yeah. Let me switch.
Okay.
Zamal, just quickly before you move on, I just want to
Hold on, I've got my brother who wants to interject. Go on, Zamal.
just want to say there are agreeable Hindus as well as disagreeable Hindus.
Yes, Tawata. Appreciate that.
Tao.
Yeah. There's agreeable and disagreeable Hindus, but Lilith was of disagreeable nature.
Please, can you comment on what the Lion's Gate usually takes place in August?
Lions Gate.
Yeah, they say the
What,
Lions
in
Gate.
London?
No. It's an energy that takes place in the month of August.
Okay.
I think during the full month of August, I think so.
Okay.
Lions Gates in Quake, they say there is a sun, not a current sun, that can be felt. So if you Google it, you see Lions Gates,
right?
And later people connect to the Lions Gate.
Okay.
Because one of the pattern I've seen, like I said, I came from the Hebrew background. In Greek, there are some, like we have a rabbi called Arizal, and his death anniversary, because we celebrate anniversary a lot.
Is it Lion? Is it how you spell it? Lions Gate?
Lions Gate.
Is it all one word?
Yeah. Lions Gate, yes, one word. Is a cosmic opening.
Okay, yeah, go on anyway, go on.
Yeah, it's a cosmic opening. So what I got to know is that Lions Gate is cosmic opening, and then I saw a parallel between the Lions Gate and the death anniversary of the Arizal. Right? So the question is now, when did they start celebrating the Lions Gate? The Lions Gate has been done for hundreds of years. Arizal is a recent thing, but it's like both dates are now merged into one. And it's like a copyright. So it's like the Arizal is not taking indication. Oh, he's the one that, yes, is a type. Arizal means the lion.
Right. Yeah. So in your base, so you want me to explain what it teaches in your Hebraic?
No, I'm talking you. I want you to explain what it teaches. The Lion's Gate. Lion's Gate is a secular. Yeah. It's a secular term known to people of spirituality.
All right. Let me read this to you then. Yeah. It may not answer your question, but know that most of these Hebraic teachings are coming from ancient Egypt. Yeah, it's an ancient Egyptian story or symbolism, which when the Hebrews, because you're saying you're from a Hebrew background, right?
Yes.
The ancient Hebraic people or Judaic people were of African descent. Do you know what I mean? Or were black. Yeah, coming from way of Abraham. Does that, yeah? So these Abrahamic people, although they're of black skin, they weren't of African descent. Does that make sense? Because Abraham's seed, when you read the genealogy of Abraham, it goes back to Adam. Yeah, so these were Adamites. That's who he came from, that lineage. He was not coming from an African perspective. He was coming from a Hebraic or the Anunnaki, if you ever heard who they are. They are the ones that were contact with Abraham. Abraham was a contactee with them, and they taught Abraham certain things. So as time went on, the original Judahites, who were one of the descendants of Ishmael, Isaac and Jacob, Israel. Okay, these Judahites, they then left Tamaray, Egypt, with some of the teachings that the ancient Egyptians taught them. Because what you have to remember, they weren't there for a day or two. They were there for over 400 years. Now, if you just look at a comparison of how long Africans from the diaspora have been in the UK, from the Caribbean, etc., and look how they've changed their whole habitual lifestyle and pattern it to the European way of life, of living. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is that being in a country of ancient Egypt for over 400 years, they picked up some things. You with me? They picked up the African culture. So the African culture got translated into what you know today as the lion, which I'll read from here, and then it'll probably make a lot more sense to you. So, I'll jump back in even a bit further, Zamal, because it's quite a bit of a read. So I'll jump into verse 39, okay? The online Bible Hebrew Strongs, please write this down. Strong's number 7626. Okay, talks about a staff of power. Will not leave from Judah, Leo, nor a lawgiver. Online's Strong's 2710. Chakak, a resolution, enactment, decree, no new laws. From between his feet, lion's paws. Okay, this is all symbolism. It's actually talking about the Sphinx that had a correlation with the Leo star. When the cycle, remember talking about the cycles? So there's cycles. So the age of Leo is where you're getting this information from, because remember you asked about energies coming down to the planet, and each cycle represented a particular energy. So that energy down in the time of the age of Leo is where the Judah, which represents the lion of Judah. Are you following? But it's actually the Sphinx. And that Sphinx, it explains in the Hebrew Strong Concordance about that there'll be from between his feet, lion's paws, from between the paws of the Sphinx, the holy cat, Catholic, until Shiloh or Shiloh comes, the tranquil one, Jesus comes, all right? And Jesus was called the Lion of Judah, Revelations 5:5. So his coming was to mark a change or shift, okay? So your Lion's Gate is talking about portals of energy that comes in representing a change or shift. Does that make sense?
What I'm saying is the Lion's Gate opening usually happens every year in the month of August.
Yeah, and I'm explaining to you.
Not your time. It's not in the past.
No. I'm saying it still happens. The cycle still happens, and the energy still comes to this planet. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, but I'm giving you a reference point as to where the origin of it came from. Yeah, and the origin of it came from ancient Egypt, but it was taken by the Judahites who resided in ancient Egypt and took it and then made it into this whole concept of the Lion of Judah, etc. It's actually talking about the Sphinx. But let me continue reading, and you probably start sinking in. So I'm going to give you like reference points. Is market change or shift, Isaiah chapter 9, verse 10 to 14, Daniel chapter 9, verse 20 to 27. Yet, so here's the pause of the Sphinx. Yeah, this is your Leo. This is your lion with the energies that comes in every so often. Yeah. Yet the fact is, Yeshua, Isa, Jesus, marked not a person, but a zodiac sign. From Genesis 49:9, he stooped down, that is the sitting symbol of Pa-Rawat, the Sphinx. Yeah, the Sphinx is in a sitting position. This is all symbolism. Yeah. He crouched as a lion, Sphinx. This shows the time you were in, because the original Sphinx was a feline, or the primeval female deity personifying in moisture, known as Tafaf Natat, Tefnut. Okay? So if you see the profile of the Sphinx, okay, it's depicting a feminine face, feminine profile of a Negroid female. Continue. When you really read Genesis 49:9, this is what it reveals. Judah, Leo, is a young Leo lion, a young one from the prey. My son, you are gone up, rise. This marks the time of the constellation of Leo in the east. He stooped down, sat down, or rise at dawn. Atumre and set at dusk, Amunre. Atumre to Amunre, or in ancient Egypt, Re Ha Achetwi, the two lions facing opposite direction, east and west. So what I'm saying is that this is representative of solstices, energies come to the planet, and from what my understanding of this Lion's Gate is that when these energies are coming to the planet, okay, it's representing a certain cyclical event that has taken place where energies come to the planet and certain portals open. Like right now, the era that we're in is known as the era of Ptah, okay, in our culture. And I said to you earlier, it's called the Aquarian age in the European culture. Within that time frame, there are energies that are coming to this planet. What is taking place is that the being or the ancestor or deity known as Ptah, this supreme being, He's the one that closed off the portals to this realm. Does that make sense? Yeah, because our ancestors ruled this planet. We ruled the universe. Yeah, this is the magnitude or the essence of who we are. We are rulers of planets and universes. We created them. And then we incarnated into our own creation. Yeah, do you understand? So Ptah, when it got to a point where humans, yeah, bring it. When it got to a point where humans were desecrating the very science, yeah, yeah, when it got to the point where human beings were desecrating and bringing filth onto the planet, that filth and energy, it doesn't just permeate on the planet. This is energy. And I said to you before, energy doesn't die. It just moves from one place to another. So these energies was coming up into the realms of our ancestors. When that energy manifests in that realm is negative and it kills our ancestors. It destroys things. You with me? So what Ptah did was to stop this energy from escaping from the planet. Earth got quarantined. And when Earth got quarantined, all the portals were sealed off by Ptah. So this Lion's Gate, what happened in the CERN project, you know about CERN? Okay, CERN is a massive, what's the word? Like a nuclear atomic reactor. Okay, and its job is to find particles, that subatomic particles. So they call it the Hadron Collider. Yeah. Now the Hadron Collider, what they're not telling you is that it can open up portals. And these portals that they're opening, from what is saying here about this Lion's Gate, they've opened up a portal to allow certain beings in. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. And these beings that they're allowing in, they're not for your best interest. Again, guarantee you that. Okay, it's for their interest. Because the Europeans also have portals that they work and they're in conjunction with certain extraterrestrial, like beings from Pleiades, beings from Aldebaran, beings from Arcturus, and beings from the Sirius star system and Orion star system. They're in connection with some of these extraterrestrials as well. So portals can be opened and closed, and the CERN project was one of them. So unless I read further, from what I'm reasoning, is like they've opened up a portal to allow certain energies to come through, but they don't know what they're messing with. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Zamal, you have a lot of questions waiting.
Okay, one last question, and there's a last question on is it on Zoom, Zamal?
Tua.
Okay, Tauta. Go on, my brother.
Okay. Can you talk about?
Oh, sorry. Let me read what the brother gave me. Which part? The orange one, yeah? Verse 147. Okay, so this is from the book called The Dimensional Shift. Okay, it's called Patarak, Dimensional Shift. Can you get up, sister? Okay. So we can't give it to anybody. All right. All right. So verse 147. As a planet pulls in the frequency pattern or tone of the next higher dimension into its morphogenic field or human body vibrations. Okay, what you're saying that human beings, or we all have an energy pattern. They call it your aura. Okay, but this actually, from your mental state down to your physiological state, you give off an aura. And that aura can come off in different lights, which determines your mood or how you feel or if you're happy, etc. Look it up. It's called Kirlian photography. Yeah, Kirlian photography. You can go and you can actually take a picture of your aura. Everything has an aura, which is basically an electromagnetic field that's around it. So this aura, the planet also has one. It also has a particular frequency. So what this is explaining is that within this morphogenetic field, okay, of frequency, the human body is also linked to that. That goes back to your 24,000 years cycle and your 24,000 genomes, all right, that you have. So the ley lines of the planet, you also have ley lines known as your circulatory system and your respiratory system and also your central nervous system. You have ley lines. That's what, when people go for shiatsu and all these different acupuncture points, these are actually energy centers or ley lines in your body. The earth has the same thing. They build pyramids on them because there's a grid system on the planet. Okay, and these grid systems are linked to portals. Okay, continuing. So does the human body also have a matrix energy lines? So a morphogenetic field is a field of energy that created form. Yeah, so this field of energy, when it slows down its vibration, it can actually create form. Again, look up. There's a lot of things you're going to look at. It's called cymatics, yeah, which is the science of sound and how sound can shape objects and bring it into manifestation, can manifest by way of sound, called cymatics. So the morphogenetic field is a field of energy that created form to material things, matter as in atoms and or cells. Each dimension circular band has a specific rate of particle pulsation and a specific angular particle spin rotation as the human circulatory system. Verse 151, each race vibrates on their own rate of ether. Yeah, so we have vibrational rates of energy or ether that were made. It's like a formula. We have a different formula to other races. So again, just to extrapolate on your question about the lions getting the portals, these portals, okay, it sounds like they've opened one up, and I'd have to read more into it, to give you a more solid answer. Okay, but essentially that's what's taking place. Earth has portals and grids, and some of these portals can be open and some of them are closed. But Ptah is the being that closed all the portals and eventually is being opening one by one. Okay.
Yeah,
sorry, there's a question on, is it still connected?
I asked the last question before you read that comment.
Okay. Go on then, my bro. Go on.
Can you talk about subconscious mind, meditation, alpha frequency, beta
all right.
frequency?
Keep that one. Let me go to this because it'd be unfair.
Yes.
Keep that one.
Okay.
Keep that one. Keep that one. Because that's like a loaded gun, that one. Right. Right. Question on Zoom. If you could fire away with your question.
Oh, hi. Yeah, thank you.
Hi there.
Hi. It's just since 2021, I've been documenting UFOs. I've got videos and pictures and stuff like that over my house and the area where I live.
Okay.
And you were talking about the time and season, and I really feel strongly that, because I've been getting like Morse codes, like they flash different colors, and I've studied them and written them down because they give me certain colors and stuff. And I just feel like in 2025, with a lot of things that you're saying is coming for what's to come, I just feel like for Europeans, we are supposed to be getting ready for, and you've mentioned that for you've mentioned a couple of, not just you other people, but for what's to come and the beings coming down. Can you just explain a little bit more, give us clarity on what is to come and what we should be doing in 2025? Because obviously a lot of people are getting ready for something, and we don't know what we're getting ready for. So
well,
that's what.
To put it blatantly to you, have you looked at it was called Pa Maguraj. Have you looked at the original alignment that we did in 1995, 96, 97 in it? Yeah, 97. Have you looked at that at all?
I've looked at different alignments, but I don't know you had one. No.
Okay, yeah. So we had an alignment in 1997 because I'm gonna try and see if I can create an image and a picture here. There was an experiment that was done in New York, Montauk, New York, known as the Philadelphia experiment. Oh yeah, it's in there as well, the dimensional shift, yeah. Yeah, so this particular experiment opened up another gateway, okay, to this dimension.
Talking about the ship that was moved from one place to the other.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I know about it.
That's right. Yeah. It opened up, it sped up time by 3 years. So when we say 1997, okay, to the year 2000, that's the 3 years missing gap. That the leap time or time leap, okay, was a 3 year gap. So 1997 we did our alignment. We created the master teacher introduced us to something called Pa Maguraj, okay, which was the journey inward. And what it meant is that we were to make a journey into our being and then connect with our ancestors. Because at that particular time, from 1997 to 2000, 2003, that's when we would have been picked up as a race of people, or those who have been perfected or developed themselves to a certain point to be actually be collected by our ancestors. I know it sounds spooky to some people, and it may sound strange, or like it sounds like, oh man, these people are talking about some crazy
No,
stuff.
I understand it
Not,
because
not, not you, not you. I'm just saying because we've got other, people that are listening from different backgrounds, etc. But the reality is that every culture in ancient times were always visited by extraterrestrials or beings from higher realms. Okay, that's what you have to really take into consideration when we're teaching this. It's not something new. It may seem strange in this day and time because we're now coming to this extraterrestrials, UFOs, and things like that. But it wasn't strange at certain points in time. Yeah. You hear names like Atlantis, and you hear places like Lemuria or Mu, and these strange names. What it is that in our culture, the ancient Egyptians also had visitations. Our ancestors would visit us at periodic times. And the reason for that is they knew that Earth has a cycle, okay? And the renewing of Earth's cycle means that there'll be certain events and calamities that will take place on the planet. So what the ancient ones, our ancestors, what they would do at a periodic time is that they will collect their children, remove them off the planet until the Earth was healed itself, and then they'll be brought back onto the planet to become the caretakers of the planet. That's how it always happened. Okay. Many cultures have done this. Like you may have heard of the word Maya before, if you've ever heard of the term Maya. Yeah, the Mayans. You ever heard of the term Mayans before? Yeah, the Mayans. Yeah, the Mayans were in South America, and then out of the blue, they just disappeared. Okay. And the word Maya in the Native American language means illusion. Okay. The reason why it's illusion because they just disappeared. The reason why they disappeared because beings took them, okay, and remove them off the planet because there was a major catastrophe that was taking place on the planet. So there's various other cultures. You go into the Zulus, Native Americans, they all talk about beings that will come, teach man to a certain point, and then take them off the planet. Okay, and then that's why you hear all these about this new Genesis stories all over the planet, like man was brought back onto the planet to reseed, etc., etc. So it's not something strange when you start to understand that concept. So in going back to now, the Philadelphia experiment, that same thing took place where doorways are opened, they're known as vortexes. And every 10 years, a vortex will open or a doorway will open where beings will come through to collect, okay, their children, or vice versa, some will come to collect to eat because Earth is also a shopping center for some beings. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, you go into Tesco's and you do your shopping, you buy your meats, your food, etc., and you eat. Well, to some beings, Earth is a shopping center. Yeah, and they come and they take and they go away and they do their thing. So in this particular instance, our ancestors have given us X amount of years to get ourselves prepared so that we could also be uplifted. So the alignment of 1997, the Magoraj, was part of that process. And it was for us to align ourselves and our inner being with nature and the cosmic forces so that we'll be in a certain high frequency that when they return, they'll be able to see us. And when they're able to see us, they collect those ones who were chosen to repopulate the planet once the planet went through its turmoil. Right now, it's happening. It's just that we see wars and all of these things. The Earth is actually doing the cleansing. It's actually cleansing itself. There's new life forms being found. All sorts of stuff is happening, which obviously you won't see in the normal media because they won't show you that. But essentially, things are changing and the change is taking place. So we have to change with it. We have to shift. with that change. And that is what this is. Hold on, Zamal. Let me just answer the question to the sister, Zamal, and then you can come with your question. So the whole thing, my sister, is that from 1997, we've been prepared by Partner Bab Yanun in many different forms, ways that he can try to reach his children, because sometimes we fall back into sleep mode. And one of the main things that we're doing now is we're not unifying. Unity, he's always said, is our power. Every other musician, orator, scholar, you name it in our race has said unity is our strength, unity is our power. But when you then multiply that by the unity and learn your own language, learn your own true way of life, etc., you become a force to be reckoned with. That's what people don't realize. So once we become a force to be reckoned with, and we are in alignment with the natural forces of nature, we can change things on a very massive global scale. So it's all down to you as an individual, but we don't listen. Yeah, all he wants from us is we got to listen. Listen to what the master teacher teaches, do what he asks you to do, and then things will work out. But we've got so many different characteristics and natures within us, that conflict, that mixing in of genes, that different mental states, that we know we can't come together to unify because one doesn't like the other, this one doesn't trust this person, etc. So the basis of this information, Wu-Sabat, is to get you to start to appreciate each and other as brother and sister. When I see you, I see a brother. When I see you, I see a sister. In doing all of these things helps elevate us to a point where we can make changes on this planet. So that is part of the dimensional shift, part of the alignment that the master teacher has been trying to get us onto. And every 10 years, the vortex opens, and they've asked the master teacher on 3 separate occasions, are they ready? Yeah, our ancestors will communicate to him asking, are they ready? And as you can see, we're still bickering and arguing amongst ourselves as a race. Yeah, so we need to come together, unify, and then changes will start to happen for us, because our ancestors now will be working through us and for us. Okay?
Yeah, because I mean, just from my perspective, some of us have been incarnated for different purpose and different, mission, because we're all obviously part of different lineage. So like for me, in my case, I'm going to be here for a different purpose. So just I don't know if you know that in America right now, there's a tsunami that's about to hit in America, in California. That's a 7.0 huge earthquake and tsunami. And I just wanted to know if Malachi York touched on that, and to see what was coming for in that perspective as well.
What he's explained is that when you're talking about the elemental forces, that's our ancestors. Our ancestors are elemental forces. So the cleaning up of this planet, that's part of this earthquakes and things going on, coupled with the fact that some children of these extraterrestrials, the disagreeable ones, they also can create weather weapons. You with me? To wipe out a particular region. So it's a combination of the two that's taking place. But know that our ancestors, each time we get stronger as a people and we unite as a people and ask them for assistance, they remove. Because as I was explaining, they've quarantined this planet. The being known as Ptah quarantined this planet. And if there's enough entities who wanted the removal of the disagreeable beings of this planet, they will assist. So it's all about us uniting, requesting to our ancestors the removal of these disagreeable negative forces. And then things will start to happen. Yeah.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
In saying that, Zamalta, it is taking place. It's just not at the speed that we should really be at. You with me? We should be at the point now where we should be communicating mind to mind, and certain things, certain abilities should be just natural to us now.
Yeah.
So
just one more question, just because obviously I connect with my ancestors and I know my mission. How
Mhm.
can people know? Because obviously we are from different bloodlines
Mhm.
and we are connected to different extraterrestrials, even though we are Nuwapians and melanated. How
Mhm.
can certain bloodlines know where they should be at certain points to keep themselves safe at the the coming of the next things that are going to happen in the future?
Right. So as I was saying before, the Magaraj was an example where all of us gathered together in one place. So the masters always emphasized gather together. Yeah. That's the reason why the word moisar in our Misbatia, it means sticky. Be familiar with each other, get to know each other, get to know your culture, study your culture. In that, when you come together and you start to practice and live your culture, then things will start to happen for you. Just look at other races. You with me? They're living their culture, they're living their way of life. And in them doing that, things are working for them. Okay? So on a global scale, if we're able to reach, if you did your part and reached 10 people, if I did my part and reached 10 people, etc., etc., everybody did their part and reached 10 people and lived Wu-Sabat in his purity, all I can say is you'll see the manifestation of miracles. Yeah, and I'm not talking about miracles, some cloud opening and someone riding down on a horse chariot and saying you are free and I've come, I'm God. I'm not talking about those miracles because that's the religious mind state. Yeah, I'm talking about insignificant synchronicities that take place. You with me? And these things are just slight, subtle hints to the realization. Like right now, if you're familiar with OSM Vision, the brother on there and other brothers who are and sisters who are on there helping with OSM Vision and pushing this, we've reached places like, Zimbabwe and Fiji Islands and many other places that are like, wow, Nigeria, Benin, we're reaching out to people and it's getting larger and larger and larger. So in doing that, we're making the miracle happen. Yeah. Sorry, Zamal?
This is going to be kind of difficult for y'all to understand what we're trying to say to you.
Oh, okay. I hear that. I appreciate that. Yeah, so this is the energy that we got to push for Wu Sabat. Push it out there. I understand everybody's at different levels, so it's not easy. But those who've embraced it and want to know more and spread this Wu Sabat and the information, you know what I mean?
You pushing the wobble. Trust me on this. I just spoke to my dad today.
Okay, there you go. I think are you York?
No, I'm Al Mahdi.
No, okay. Mahdi, I'm saying that you're talking about your father, Dr. Malachi, yeah? Dr. Malachi is a joke.
I'm talking about my father, yes.
Okay, and he said push Nuwapu, yeah?
He said we are Nuwapu and Musbatu is religion. This is because they wanted to go back in religion. I have it recorded.
Okay. I'm not gonna go back and forth. We're teaching the information that we've been taught. So yeah.
What you're teaching is beautiful because you're teaching the Wapu and you're just saying that is Musbatu.
Yeah, they're interchangeable, but yeah, we can't go. We won't go into it on there. Yeah. All right, Zamal. Zamal. It's a platform for new, people to ask their questions. So, if you want to have this kind of, yeah, no, toe tap. I'm saying the dialogue. We can have that dialogue separately. So, just appreciate your input though. Toe tap.
Okay, so every time you want to say Musbatu, say Nuwapu, so you can hold on to the rope.
Okay, toe tap, Zamal.
Yeah.
All right, I think I've got a question coming through. So let me just ask who's got a question in here? Oh yes, brother. Tell Zamal for that. Appreciate it though. Yeah. So can we have the mic? Yeah, use the mic, please.
I've had time to sit and ponder my questions. I'm pretty sure I already know the answer.
Okay.
But previously, you mentioned that everyone on Zoom and everyone in here didn't make the grade, and it's only us in here. But I'd imagine some of our agreeable ancestors would be in here providing some sort of moral support, and also some etheric beings. I'd imagine so. Like they may prefer certain earthlings or humans, and they want to see us win and what's the word when you go up in ethers?
Ascend.
Ascend.
Yeah.
And they're just here just to see it happen. And I
Yeah.
suppose
Mm-hmm.
the way some humanoids or some people use Wu-Sabat as entertainment, I'd imagine some etheric beings may also use it as some form of leisure, I suppose. Does that sound silly?
No, it doesn't sound silly, but I'll be wrong to I'll give you an answer to that because I don't know the full extent of how it's applied in that realm. You with me? All I do know is that they do assist.
Can I give y'all an update about Dad and then I'll leave?
Okay, Zamal, go on. Maybe he's going up.
All right.
Yeah.
So they've been lying to you about his health. It's been cracking. I spoke to him today. He said anyone that is with me should understand that my age has a time limit.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. And the problem is that we have, I'm just going to leave that and then I'll leave.
All right.
Don't listen to people that say he's doing great. He said that at my old age, time is a problem. The body is going to give up before I do.
That's right. Yeah. I'm very much aware of that. Yeah. I've definitely read that in updates.
This happened today.
No, I'm saying we have a cultural call, we have a tribal call, and I'm also familiar with just certain things as well, somehow. So I appreciate what you're saying, and I'm familiar with certain things, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. Total. Yeah. So it's his. No worries. I appreciate it. So what essentially the brother is saying is that the skin suit, the actual shell that the being is walking around as Dr. Malachi is coming on now. He's getting older and older. So yes, as a being, he's still holding on, but we need to get him out. It's that simple, really.
If you understand in the Holy Tablet, right, where he went to chapter 10, tablet 4, right, when he said, "Why could not have been sent to the ants?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, know that one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the ant built a mound. The master teacher built the pyramids. The mound gets stepped on. The pyramid got destroyed. And no one is building, no one has found land and rebuilt to show that they love or they want what he came to give. No one.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's the thing. Beloved, he said that we are, I asked him about,
Zamal, you said that's your last input. And like I said, this is not the time nor the place. So if you could, let me continue with the class so that those who are here, because remember, I'm responsible for the souls that I'm teaching. Remember that as well. So please, let's not, get distracted. Let me focus on what I'm doing, okay? And I appreciate your time. All right? Tawata. All right, what do? Right. So let's not digress. Your question again was to do with, are they supporting you and are they with you at certain times? Is that your question?
No, are they in the room with us?
Yes.
You said I thought they
That's right. Yeah,
well,
they're in the room. One of the movies is The Adjustment Bureau. If you watch The Adjustment Bureau or Coco, another child movie, it shows you in there. It's a depiction. This is why he's always explained to us, watch these movies. He doesn't say watch it just for the sake of, just entertainment. He says watch these movies because this is one of the ways Hollywood or these extraterrestrials from Pleiades and other places, they teach their own through movies. So within Coco, Coco is a young boy who his great grandfather or grandfather of some sorts lost connection with his ancestors, and he wanted to know how. So he was pulled into the spirit realm, and he found out how his ancestor died, etc. But in them doing that, they were able to connect with them by lighting candles, etc. So they acknowledged their existence. You see what I'm saying? And this is what we have to start doing, because they cannot. It's like, imagine you're drowning, okay? And you're calling on somebody else to come and help you, who's strange to you and doesn't understand your language. They can't assist you. So if you call on your grandmother, your great grandmother, or somebody in your family, or your mother or your father, they can come and help you. You see what I'm saying? Because they know your tone, they know your child, that's your child. So likewise, in the spirit realm, the same thing goes on. They know who their children are. But first and foremost, you have to acknowledge them. And that's the first step. Once you acknowledge them, you've opened up that realm to them. And then the more you call on them and they assist you, like I said, they could be, not saying that they are, sitting right here in the room, because ultimately, as you learn, they also learn. You see? And that's the thing is, Wu-Sabat is here to teach not just you, but also the ones who are stuck in those realms, so that they can move up. And then eventually, once you transcend and they transcend, they can help assist you in that birthing process on the other side. Because remember, you're born physically in this realm and you come through a canal. Well, the same way you go through the etheric cord into the spiritual realm, and your relatives there will also bring you into that world. And then what they'll do, as the master explained, is they'll give you what is called a spiritual orientation, which means there's certain things you have to do between a certain period of time. Like you can visit your loved ones. He's even explained that when you're passing somebody who is like bathing, you shouldn't go through, you should go and pass them like backwards. You shouldn't look on them. You with me? So there's certain practices in the spiritual realm that you'll be taught. And again, the movie,
Wait, sorry. In regards to bathing,
yeah,
you mean when you're in the spirit world,
somebody else is bathing, yeah,
and you're seeing someone in the physical world?
Yeah.
Funny, a quick side note, me and my sisters were speaking about that. My sister was speaking about how she was uncomfortable with our grandfather or our ancestors looking at our little toilet. It was a funny conversation, but now you're telling me, and my other sister did say that they're probably not looking at you because they got respect that we shouldn't be watching.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, and there's another one. There's several other movies that depicts. There's one where got the name. I won't go into too much movies, but if I find it, I'll post it up. Do you know what I mean? It's basically like they're police officers, and they go when they die, they go into this same similar situation where they taught how to navigate the spiritual world. You with me? Oh, what's the name?
R.I.P.D.
R.I.P.D. Yeah, it's called R.I.P.D. Tawat Zamal. Yeah, in that movie it depicts how you can't look at persons or you can't do this in the spirit realm, because he tries to do, like, he thinks he's in the real world or the physical world, trying to orchestrate in the spiritual world. It's like, that can't happen. You can't do this, you can't do that. So there's certain laws and rules that you have to follow and abide by. Yeah. So our link to them is us acknowledging them, us putting up altars to them, us allowing ourselves to trust in them. You see what I'm saying? Because once we start to trust them and acknowledge them, like I said, things will start to happen in your life. The protection that we haven't had for those hundreds of years will start to come back. Okay.
We've got quite a few questions
on Zoom.
I'm not going to ask a question based on what you just said.
Let's give other people a thing. Yeah. Zamal, 1 second. You got feedback. And then we'll jump to you. Yeah, because there's a lot of questions and it's 9 o'clock. Yeah, but we'll come to you. Right. So the question on Zoom. Can you read it out, Zamalta?
Sure. Are there certain incense that we shouldn't burn? From Velma iPhone.
are there certain incense that you shouldn't burn? Is what the masters always explain is that there's two: frankincense, myrrh, palo de santo, and sage. Those are the main ones that we should burn. That's why our ancestors would burn. You with me? Other incense like patchouli and all those exotic, let's just put it, they're exotic fragrances. They may help make your room smell nice, but there's certain reasons for the frankincense, myrrh and stuff because they have spiritual connection to the spirit realm. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's basically it. So you can burn any incense you want, but know that there's certain main ones that help in the spirituality of things. Okay. All right.
How does one set up an altar, and what are the materials needed? From Terry Tahuti Akenreye from Zoom.
So the altar should be anywhere in your house. You know, if you can do in your front room or wherever you can, you know, do it there. And don't do it in your bedroom, preferably. But if you can, you know, if you got nowhere else, do it in your room. As long as it's somewhere that you can communicate with your ancestors. Then what is shown is you get a candles, a white cloth, linen, or cotton, okay, that to cover that particular piece or table that you're using. Have pictures of your relatives on that altar and anything else that you might want to put on there. Obviously, food is not something that they won't eat food because they don't need it. But some people do offer food on the altar. And it's essentially that. The main thing is when you need to speak to a relative, you put all the other relatives down and you focus on that particular relative you want to speak to. So if it's your uncle or grandmother or whatever, just what I'm saying, you have that picture alone up. And then from there you can communicate with them because now because an altar ultimately is a portal, yeah, to them. All right. Yeah, so that's that. Any more? I see you, my brother. Long time. On Clubhouse, yeah? Okay. Oh, I saw us go question and then or should I jump?
Yeah, make us talk about it.
Go on, Asa.
Would you be able to verify if I'm correct in saying, did the master say he was a forerunner for a Messiah, the Messiah?
The forerunner for the Messiah. As far as I'm aware, yeah.
Okay.
Well, really and truly, that is our Messiah. If you get it, he is our savior. Because you have to take away the religious aspect, because it's not about religion. There's no religious thing. When you say Messiah, you have to understand the meaning of that word. Okay, it means somebody who is anointed. Okay, you with me? All right. So it's for the word Meshiach. So it's just an anointed being. Now you look at the word savior. You're only looking at the word Yeshua. Remember, his name was Isa. Yeah. So in that sense, he's our savior. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, on Clubhouse, we have the coastal Africans are mixed race Nubians, a product of invasion. Do you have additional information / outformation about this topic? From Kefefre Aton.
Yes. Khafefre Atun, if you go to actual fact, Kabir Kadam, Bigfoot, do we have that one there? Do we have Bigfoot? Yeah, let me read. You can also, if you have the holy tablets, if you have the holy tablets in it's called the tablet, I think 3, the slaves, that goes into the whole Zanzibar and the Arabs and the Hindus and Yaqub and all of that. It's all within the holy tablets. It actually shows you in there. But if you don't have the holy tablets, refer to Kabir Kadam Bigfoot. And that also goes into Zanzibar and the slave trading routes of the slave trade.
There's a question by Ma'at. Is Ptah one of the 24 elders, or is he of the 9 Etherians?
But tar is it's not one of the nine, but he's how can I put it? Overseer. He's one of our overseers, but he's not one of the nine. The nine would be Atum, okay, and then you have from Atum, you have Nun, Nuntat, He, Hatat, Kak, Kaktat. That's the Ogdu words. The nine will be Asar, Ashashtat, Ha, etc. That will be the nine, okay? And Hatar will be the overseer of that. So he'd be one of the overseers, but he's not one of the nine.
Tua, another question is how comes Ptah doesn't close the portal CERN opened now? That's from Omar.
How come Ptah? So I didn't catch that.
You know, you were mentioning about CERN opening the portals.
Yep.
He says, how come Ptah doesn't close the portals CERN opened now?
That I have no answer to that because what they tend to do is I don't know why he hasn't or there hasn't been an attempt to. What I know is that they force certain portals open. That's what they do. So the CERN project was not like a portal was opening naturally because we deal with the cycles of nature. So when the portals do open, it's based on the cycles of natural nature, and that's how Ptah would then open up the portal. But if it's dealing with the CERN, this is an actual forced opening of the portal. And that's what caused other beings to come into this realm. You with me? So that's a misappropriation of their powers, basically, to open up certain portals that shouldn't be opened. Because they're all open at certain times of cycles or years, amount of years.
Tower tags them out. Another question. I just want to get through the ones on Zoom quickly, and then you can carry on.
Yeah.
There's a question here that when you say our grandmother is the medium to the higher beings, is it from our mother or father's side?
Okay. Yeah, it's from your mother's side. The reason being is because your mother has the heritage and the mitochondria. She's the one that keeps the records of all your ancestors in her mitochondria DNA. So that's the reason why the connection is through the mother. So if still confused there. Okay. So let me explain what it is. You have in you know about genetics, DNA at all? Are you familiar with DNA? Okay, so in the cell of your body, your cell contains microorganisms that work. Okay. You have something called your nuclear cell. In fact, let me just bring it up an image so that you can see visually. Some people do learn visually. Right. So within the cell of your body, you have these little mitochondria that are known as the powerhouse. Okay. So each time you eat food, this particular cell, as tiny as it is, produces all the energy that keeps you alive and working. All right. Now, this particular powerhouse of the cell is not in you got, so you have the cell. Still. Yeah, so, right. So this is what's going on in your body. Right. You have each cell in your body contains these our factories. Yeah. And each factory has a particular specific job to play. So within the cell, you have this particular word here, mitochondria. Yeah. Mitochondria. And that particular organ is an organelle. It's a very small organ. Within that, there's an actual DNA also in there. So you have your nuclear DNA, which is this red bit here. Okay, that's your nuclear DNA. In there, your DNA is what you get from both parents. And then it is stored in the nucleus and it's untampered with. You with me? Until you do other things that can scramble it, like for instance, sugar. Sugar can actually destroy DNA, all right, or unscramble it. Within that cell powerhouse, you have the mitochondria. And that mitochondria DNA has within that itself another factories that are going on. That is only passed from mother to daughter. And this particular cell records the generations of your ancestors. That's how deep it is. So the female only passes on from child to child, but within the male, once he copulates, he passes it on and it loses it in the sperm because it actually is in the sperm because it's a powerhouse. It actually propels the sperm cell, and then when it fuses with the egg, it drops off, and that's it. That's the nuclear DNA then becomes infused with the egg. But the actual mitochondria of the female, because it's within her already, she passes it on from daughter to daughter, from daughter to daughter, mother to daughter, and goes on and on and on. So they've recorded that mitochondria DNA. They call it the mitochondrial Eve. Okay, but that DNA goes back over 300,000 years. So that's just a snippet in time because we've been here longer. But just to give you a reality of how long we've been on the planet as Africans. And that record is kept from generation to generation, from mother to mother, from all females in here are all linked because you all come from one ancestor. You with me? Or from these beings that made us. Okay? These ancestors known as the Nataru, or our creators, right? Our mothers and fathers. So that question is literally asking about this gene and what it does and how it operates within us as a people or as a race. Okay, and that's what the mitochondria is. That what the question was, Zamal? Can just elaborate a bit more because I kind of dropped off.
Tour, Zamal.
That was it.
Tour.
Okay, yeah. So that's essentially what this is. So you can go and look it up, the cell, mitochondria, DNA, and what it represents in the human body. Okay. But if you understand this and then you understand about the female, that's what this book represents here. It's talking about the gospel of Yanun to the sacred feminine. That's the reason why females are sacred and we keep her as in high esteem because we put on a pedestal because we recognize that she's the mother of all of us. Do you see what I'm saying? And in that she's the mother of all of us, the female is a representation of the universe because the universe gives birth, females give birth. Females house a universe in their womb for 9 months. The universe takes 9 billion years to create us. You know what I mean? That's how it works. So it's all as above, so below. It all represents each other. Okay? And that's why in our culture, we acknowledge the female in that respect because she was first. She is our mother. All females of the Nagaru race or African race. Question on Zoom still? Now, I know that the brother had a question at the back, and then you had a question, didn't you, Zamal?
Yeah, 2 of my questions have already been asked.
Okay.
The third one is, if the mother has reincarnated.
Hold on a second.
Yeah. So if my great grandmother or my grandmother has reincarnated, what am I calling on at the altar?
Who you calling on an altar?
Yeah.
I can only say that in their existence, time doesn't exist. So I wouldn't know if they've incarnated. So I can't give an answer to that. You with me? It's like me saying hypothetically if they're the thing. But the fact of the matter is if they are born back into this realm, okay, then you no longer you still have a connection to them. You with me? It's just that you wouldn't know that their incarnations either become a child. You with me? But you still have a spiritual link to that particular energy.
If that energy is a child right now,
yeah,
how is that child going to help them?
How's that child going to help you?
Yeah.
Because you're linked to that child.
I'm still a baby though.
Doesn't matter. Children can teach you things.
You don't get me.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say, I'm here now.
Yeah.
Say my grandmother's been born in Africa.
Yeah.
3 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the altar, I burn my sage, everything, and I ask for help.
Yeah.
Who's coming to help? The baby?
No, another relative will take the place.
Oh, so the grandma is just a portal.
Yeah,
and then any other relative can pass through and help.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
Definitely.
Oh, that makes more
Yeah,
sense.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Question at the back there.
Yeah, before asking my question, you're making a point about the movies.
Mm.
And I have a comment to make about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the movies is just a medium for us to get message from them. And the movies is also used to manipulate people.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you now know? And the Hollywood stars are being used by the beings to manipulate people. So how do you now differentiate between getting although you have to get the message and filter out the good from the bad. So how do you now, because it's like,
okay, because
area.
this is where we've been. Okay, everyone knows the Matrix, the movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Matrix.
Something in you was telling you that this is how they're able to manipulate us. They're teaching us something, that there's going to be a time where AI, yeah, remember Matrix was made when? 2000 something?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's happening now? AI. So they're telling you in movies. Now, future technology, by way of these extraterrestrials. That's what they do. They tell you, we're going to do this, but if your mind's eye is closed to that reality, you're going to be living in the matrix or in that illusion, believing all the things that they give you. But once your mind's eye is able to discern that reality, then you need to start making steps to get out of it. And that's why we're here. Our job is to help you, pull you out of the matrix. The brother Saken done a class on that. Let's get you out of the matrix. We go to work towards getting ourselves out of the matrix so that we can come together, okay, and raise our vibrational level so that our ancestors can come. I'm passionate about this because I know, okay, that they're real. And it's not because this is not a religious, I know they're real. I know they're real because I've acknowledged them now. And there's certain synchronicities in my life, okay? Like I said, it's not no big miracles or anything like that, but I know that there's a protection on me, and it can, what's the word? Enlarge to our race. If we all took the stance and rejected all these things that they've been feeding us for over the past 400, 6,000 years. If we say to ourselves, you know what, we're done with this, I'm going to start living my original way of life. Just watch the changes that will happen on this planet.
So back to my question.
Yeah.
Because, and it ties with my question, because the movies basically are like marketing tools.
Yeah.
So they market what they want us to accept and repeatedly over a number of times.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So back to, like they say, when somebody is when he woke up, his body is in a different frequency. That's when he can easily create things. I get it.
That's right.
So how do you now, so I want you to explain about creating your events, visualization. It's like you're trying to create, because they use the movies to create what, if you use the term disagreeable part, then you have to now create your reality.
Yeah.
And we have,
so what's your question?
You now create your reality because we have...
You create your reality by living your own culture. That's you creating your own reality because you rejected... That's all part of it, because once you reject their way of life, okay, for example, what's your name now?
David.
Right. Take David and replace it with Consul. You've changed your reality. You've changed the magnetic polarity or the energy field that's engulfed around and made that what's the word? solvent of David. You've removed it because remember what we said earlier. Sound, tone, energy, and vibration links you into all the dead Davids and the alive Davids. What do I mean by the dead David and alive Davids? If I go into a room and I call out David in a room where there's 3 or 4 Davids, yeah, all of them will do what? They'll turn around thinking they've been called, right? Also, the dead are also listening. They're also listening and waiting. So now you say, oh, me, you mean me? You've acknowledged that tone. What do Zamal? Yeah, that tone's been acknowledged, which means now any essence or energy that's vibrating on the same frequency as you, your tone, your name, can also manipulate and use you. It's like the notes on a music scale, C to C is a resonant frequency. So that resonant frequency will reside within you, which is resident. Yeah, so it becomes a resident frequency now. So our job is to change our tones and our vibrations. So instead of saying David, or Michael, which is my government name, is Usia or is Kwabena. I've acknowledged now what the names that my ancestors have given me now. And doing that, I've set a tone and a vibrational and a quantum entanglement. Remember we were talking about quantum entanglement? Yeah. Now I've made a link back to them. I've given myself that name, which links back to my ancestors, because they're the ones that are real. The other ones will use you and manipulate you and etc. etc. So drop the name David. You're from Nigeria. You know that ain't your name, really. You were given a real name. Yeah, and start using it. Maybe when you go to work, they can call you David, they can call you Michael, whatever. Do you get what I'm saying? But you know that your true name is this. So start using it. The more and more you use it, the more powerful it becomes.
So when does the name come to effect? Is it when you've changed your name or when it's being called?
Both. Because you change your name is a what? What is it? What is it called? A thought. What has thought? Thought has energy, color, shape, vibration, and it manifests. Now, what is a sound? Your name being uttered, which has a color, a shape, a vibration, a frequency. You see what I'm saying? So you have to start, we're going to be ending soon. We have to start eliminating and eradicating these tones and start calling on our true names.
Why I ask the question is because maybe 1,000 people are still calling your old names.
Yeah.
And maybe 10 people are still calling you the new names.
Yeah. Truth is truth. Yeah. Yeah. So you got to now make a stance and say, well, when that person calls you David, say, you know what? My name David, but I rather prefer you calling me this. And eventually they have to start getting used to it. They have to start respecting who you are. You see, that's the thing. That's why we as a people are not respected, because we don't take a stance in our culture. If we did and practice our culture, other cultures will respect us. But we take on other foreign names and alien names, etc. So how are you going to get respected if you have got nothing to stand on? Think about it. Can I get
that ask a question?
Okay. Last one, 2 last ones, and that's it. We can't do no more because we all have to okay, I'll ask you a question on the Telegram. Sister, your question?
Yeah, it's just I'm just humbly gonna say what's not really a question. Like my husband and I have been involved in a religion for a very long time, and we came out of that over 21 years ago, and it was quite a big major church. We were quite high in that, and now we're quite big in the industries that we are in. I mean, I've got a large following online, and I do a lot of things.
Okay.
I'm a bit upset because I've come from a religion's perspective, and I was directed to come to Wu-Sabat. But with the experience I had just now when Malachi York's son was talking, and you teach from what I've heard and all the stuff I've watched on the videos, is that Malachi York is, our savior and is here to help us. But his son was just there. And the way you spoke to him and not allowing him to speak didn't give me a good representation of what you guys are all about. That's his son. And if you say Malachi York is our savior and someone to speak to, I'm not saying I don't know what's going on, but I felt really uncomfortable.
I hear you, and I appreciate your concern, and you have every right to question that. The thing is, right, Zamalta, is that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, which
But
I
we are mature people and grown adults, and
yeah,
this
I
is the
know,
reason
but it will take
a lot of
away.
things have been
Listen,
said about Malachi York
yeah,
online,
exactly. But what
and
I'm
you
saying
are the
is,
people to
yeah,
clarify that truth.
I will clarify. It can be clarified, but it will take longer. You would have to have a sit down, just what I'm saying, or a whole class based on that because there's a lot going on. Dr. Malachi Zedek has 100 children. You with me? A being who comes and incarnates on this planet has given children who he's allowed to have 100 children, 50 agreeable, 50 disagreeable. Do you understand? It gets deeper than that. Then there's also children that he never got to hug and kiss because he spent all his energy, okay, about the mission. So it's not just about, I'm not addressing the brother's question. I don't know what platform or what angle he's coming from, just what I'm saying. But
Zamal,
yeah,
let me just say something
yeah,
quickly.
go on, Zamal. Yeah,
Listen, people that are on the outside don't know what's going on the inside. And
yeah,
before they even get in the inside to understand and know the family and know what's going on, they can be outside and make all kind of judgmental statements.
yeah, yeah.
But the first step is you yourself have to first of all be a part of the family to understand and know what's going on the internal
Go,
side.
Zamal. I
All right.
appreciate your succinct answer. Yeah.
See, I've been incarnated here. I know what my mission is, and I'm not asking you for you to know, you know, if what I'm saying is true or not. I was directed
Zamata,
to your people.
with due respect, right? We've run out of time.
Yeah.
You may say you've been incarnated here for whatever, and you know whatever, but this is not a I, and a me and myself.
I do
thing.
agree with
It's a
that, but there's a
we.
lot of
It's a
people listening.
You're interrupting me right now for somebody that is talking about how people address and deal with people. I'm trying to say to you, we know more about what's going on from being in the family and being in the inside that you may appreciate or know from just one incident that you've experienced.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that if you want to really get close, you know, because it's not about being on the outside and, you know, because we as teachers, we know our family and we know how to deal with and address situations in the appropriate manner. So it's not that we don't want to address it, but you have these classes are set up specifically, yeah, for newcomers, people that are coming in and they don't really know what's been going on for the last 20 plus years and they don't know the family, they don't know the children, they don't know a lot of things. So I'm just saying, you know, you can't go by one incident and like I said, we've run out of time. Class is finished, and my brother's done.
Samantha, I appreciate seriously.
All
Your
right.
question is well founded. It's just that we like you said, make your way if you're really serious about Wu-Sabat, make your way into the family, attend our sessions, etc. Seek the admission, you know, become a member, and then you'll get to know more about things. Is what I can say. All right. Tell Zamal for that input. Appreciate that. Right, so class is ended. I'd like to thank everyone, sincerely mean that for
Sorry,
joining.
Nadum Zamal, just because Omar had his hand up for a very long time as well. So if you don't mind letting him ask the last question.
I don't mind. It's the moderators in there who are
yeah, it's just because we got distracted.
Go on, Omar. I don't mind. Go on, Omar. Yeah. I've been given a thumbs up. Go on, Omar. Where's Omar coming from? Is it Clubhouse?
Omar's on Zoom, Omar A. But if he doesn't want to take the opportunity, then you can close off. But he did have his hand up for a long time, and I don't want him to.
Yeah,
get
go
his
ahead,
question.
my brother. Don't be shy. The opportunity is here. So Omar gone. All right. We can't wait.
You hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. Yep, Omar. Yep.
Do you hear me?
Can hear you now and clear.
Rahubat, brother.
Rahubat.
So my question is, if I was raised Islam and you know my whole family is mostly Muslim and I'm trying to reach my ancestors and I'm not following the same faith they were when they passed on, so they died with that faith. When I'm trying to contact them, would there be any issues on the other side now that I'm not in the same faith they was when they were alive?
You know, fun you say that, Omar, because what the master's explaining, that tones, names, and vibration. I'm going to try and keep this short, but with hopefully some kind of clarity. Know that Sorry, there's a background noise. I don't know where that's coming from. But know that what your ancestors, their names and what they practiced is that they are now caught in that religion's energy. Okay, you as that conduit have now the opportunity to help them out of what they're trapped in, because they're actually trapped by way of religion. And being trapped by way of religion, they've given up their essence, their soul and their spiritual essence to these different beings who operate on that religion's energy. You see, so you have the opportunity now to actually help them get stronger by you practicing Wu-Sabat and living according to the information that Wu-Sabat provides. Also, we mentioned about names. So Omar, for instance, is a Arabic or name that is dealing with energies that's connected to Arabs or Hindus or Turkish people, etc. So that's a Adamite name. It's not an African name. So our job is to try and slowly and eventually move towards our African names and our African tones. But you're doing the right thing, Omar, because you're now connecting yourself to Wu-Sabat. And in doing that, your ancestors who are available, remember, you activate them once you start to read this information. So one of the things the masters explain is when you start to acknowledge Wu-Sabat, the forces of nature open to you and your ancestors will start to visit you in your genes. You activate them. Does that make sense? Omar, are you there? Okay, he's disappeared. I hope you caught the answer to that. And with that, unfortunately, I will have to end. I'd like to thank everybody, Tawakum, for coming to our classes. I hope you can get others to join and listen to Wu-Sabat and for it to help changes in their lives. And also, ultimately, is to unity is our power, gathering together and focusing on freeing of the master teacher from where he's at, because as we know, he is getting older, he's not getting on. Seek out a membership on the chat.co.uk/community, okay, to find out more information on that. Speak to the brothers and sisters, or OSM Vision. We can post it on there on the Telegram chat for those who are really sincerely interested and wanted to change. Divine love, Ashuk to everybody. Take care of yourselves and see you in the next class. Wadu for now.